The next session is online and Dr. Animesh Maity will be joining us. He's an endocrinologist and a professor and HOD of Calcutta Medical College of the Department of Endocrinology. And to chair this particular session, I would...
Animesh sir has joined virtually. He is now with us.
Thank you. I welcome you, Dr. Animesh Maity, to our session today, to the 7th National Conference of Howrah Diabetes Study Society. And to chair the particular session, I would like to invite Dr. Somnath Noshkar, who is a consultant physician and executive member of Howrah Diabetes Study Society, and along with him, Dr. Mridul Bera, who is a cardio-diabetic physician and the founder member of Howrah Diabetes Study Society. I would request Chairperson Sir to kindly introduce Dr. Professor Animesh Maity for all of us.
Okay, very good afternoon everyone. As you all know that diabetes makes people more prone to infections because of a number of reasons. Maybe reduction of immunity, maybe immunosenescence, and there are a number of mechanisms related to it, and it's a kind of vicious cycle. So diabetes makes people more prone to infections, and infections will worsens the diabetes control, the glycemic control. So this is a vicious cycle goes on, and in spite of this, it's a missed opportunity. Many of our diabetes patients are not getting the vaccines which are required, which can save them from the infections. Maybe because of lack of awareness from from the provider and the beneficiary side. Maybe there may be a lack of national unanimous guidelines. So because of all these things, again it's a very important issue. So to discuss this issue, we have a very eminent endocrinologist, Professor Dr. Animesh Maity, who is professor and head of the department of Calcutta Medical College. So the session is all yours for the next few minutes, sir. Please start. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson, sir, for your kind introduction. And I must thank the Howrah Diabetes Town Diabetes Society organizers for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of such a gatherings. Now, today's topic is about vaccination in diabetes mellitus. Now, as Chairperson has already said that in diabetes, the chance of infection goes high. And if you look at the death or mortality in case of diabetes mellitus, we know that if you look at the chronic complications, the cardiovascular disease and renal disease are the most common cause of mortality in diabetes. Whereas if you look at the acute complications, probably the infection is the leading cause of mortality in diabetes. And whether I am audible?
Sir, you're audible, but the slides are not moving.
No, slides I didn't change.
Okay, sir. Okay. Yes, sir, you're audible.
So mortality is high. That's why. So why we need vaccination in diabetes? Because probably to either to decrease the occurrence or prevent the occurrence of the infections, or at times to lessen the severity of the infections. Now, why the more chance of infections occur in diabetes mellitus? We have seen that immune dysfunctions occur in patients with diabetes mellitus. But besides this, because it has been observed that the adherence of the microorganisms to the cells loaded with the glucose occurs more. Also, there are a number of times we have to go for intervention in diabetes, especially because maybe in the internet.
Sir has left the session. We will wait for a while for him to join back. He has rejoined. Sir, kindly unmute yourself.
ও তুমি বাগনানে এইসব করছো হ্যাঁ
look at the immune system of our body. It's one is the acquired immunity and another is the innate immunity. And in acquired immunity, it's mediated through the T cell, and the T cell mediated we know, and in innate immunity, it's mainly through the complement mediated and cells involved in the neutrophils, macrophages, and their function of phagocytosis. So, grossly in the all segments, whether it's innate immunity or the acquired immunity, both are affected in the disease of the diabetes mellitus. To say that the cells, T cells involved in the acquired immunity, they are not get charged in presence of diabetes mellitus. On the other hand, in the innate category, the complement system becomes defective, and as well as the phagocytic process is also defective, and that leads to more chance of infections. And if you look at the particular dysfunctions involved in the innate immunity, whether it's a complement system mediated or it's a phagocytic process, you see if the complement system is affected, then it has been observed that the C4 component is decreased, and that leads to defective opsonization and the phagocytosis of the microorganisms by macrophage and the neutrophils. And also it has been seen that the certain cytokines like interleukin 1, 6, TNF alpha, interferon gamma, they are also liberated in a small amount, and that prevents the destruction of the organisms. And if you look at the cause of this defective complement system, maybe one is the hyperglycemia directly, and another is the formation of advanced glycosylated end products in the disease of the diabetes actually causes defective polymorphonuclear functions. They causes defective adherence of the polymorphonuclear cells to the endothelium, as well as their diabetes and chemotaxis also becomes defective. And if you look at the cellular innate immunity functions abnormality, then you will see the most important part is the defective phagocytosis and oxidative burst. So the chemotaxis is also affected, but the most important may be the defective oxidative burst. This what is oxidative burst? And this is a process where the microorganisms inside the cells become destroyed by liberation of reactive oxygen species, and it has been seen or it has been observed that if the hyperglycemia is 100 milligram per deciliter or more, then it's become defective. Also, also the equanimity also affected. And if we summarize the immune dysfunction, that both the humoral and cellular categories of immunity becomes defective, and ultimately they lead to defective complement function and defective polymorphonuclear functions, and that function in all the aspects of chemotaxis, phagocytosis, and defective oxidative burst. And the results in the invasion of the organisms of the body, leads to bacteremia, leads to sepsis. Now, if you look at what type of infections occurs in the diabetes mellitus, it can be anywhere in the body, but we know that the most common systems involved in the respiratory system or urinary tract infection, and third is the skin and soft tissue infection. So these are the three areas where usually the infections occur. But if you look at the mortality or the mortality from the disease of the diabetes, probably the pneumonia is well ahead of the other infections that actually causes increased complications as well as mortality. And in this respect, probably the Streptococcus pneumoniae has got a major role to cause the pneumonia we know that its main reservoir is the human nasopharynx, and subsequently it migrates to the different organ system, like its colonization in the nasopharynx, subsequently either it moves into the medulla, pulmonary media, or lungs for the pneumonia, and from the pneumonia, when it spreads all over the body, resistant circulation, it produces bacteria, and finally it can lead to CNS infection also in the form of meningitis. So you start with colonization in the nasopharynx, but because of the hyperglycemia or defective immune function, it spreads throughout the body and leads to bacteria, sepsis, and also the meningitis, and this way lead to death of the patient. And if you look at the all-cause community acquired pneumonia, probably the pneumococcal pneumonia is the most common of all-cause community acquired pneumonia. And among the pneumococcal pneumonia, a significant number of patients can develop invasive pneumococcal pneumonia. And if you look at the most common the aggressiveness of this pneumococcal pneumonia is because of probably many antigen, but the polysaccharide antigen is the most common part or most deadly part that actually causes invasion of this molecule. So, if you look at the prevalence of invasive pneumonia according to the different age group, it has been observed that the two end of the age group, like in the childhood, in it's below 2 years and more than 65 years age group, these are the two from age groups who are mainly affected by this invasive pneumococcal disease. And if you look at the organisms or serotype of the pneumococcal pneumonia, it is the PCV13 and the PCV7. These are the most commonly involved organisms that causes invasive pneumonia. And if you look at the less than 5 years age group, it is the PCV13 organisms. And if you look at the more than 65 years old, in both the cases, the PCV17 is the most commonly involved organism. However, the PCV13 as well as non-PCV7 are also involved. And if you look at the invasive bacterial infection surveillance study, where they are looking or they have looked at the organisms which are most commonly involved in the invasive pneumonia, it has been found that the Streptococcus pneumoniae is the leading cause of invasive pneumonia in the diabetes, and most common cause of hospitalization as well as the mortality. And if you look at the global mortality associated with this pneumococcal disease, you will see that this pneumococcal infection is the leading cause of death worldwide, also not only, and globally it's the most important cause of pneumonitis that can lead to death. So if you look at the risk factors, then you can see from the above discussion, as you have seen, that the prevalence of pneumonia occurs usually the two extremes. One is the childhood age group below 2 years, and another is the more than 65 years. But apart from that, there are certain risk factors which can lead to increased risk of pneumonia as well as invasive pneumonia. Those are chronic obstructive lung disease, then chronic heart disease, then liver disease. That is a target organ. If somebody has a target organ damage, those are at risk of developing pneumonia. Also, those who are alcoholic and take cigarette smokes, they are also at risk. However, as a metabolic disease, diabetes also lies in the same category of target organ damage, and diabetes being one of the important risk factors as well. Apart from patients, those who are in immunosuppressed condition because of the immunosuppressed drugs or steroids or aspirin, they are also at risk of developing pneumonia as well as invasive pneumonia. And if you look at the incidence of pneumococcal disease, according to the age, we have seen already. So apart from age more than 5 years, I have already discussed the diabetes and chronic heart disease, COPD and CLD are associated with increased risk of invasive pneumonia. And if you have comparative data analysis of 25 studies by Torres et al., they have shown that the high risk of pneumococcal disease occurs mainly disease chronic is one is the chronic respiratory disease and another is the diabetes mellitus. So the other target organ damage in the form of chronic heart disease, chronic liver disease are also at risk of developing invasive pneumococcal disease, but probably these two areas where the chance of invasive pneumococcal disease is high. You can see it's almost matching with the chronic respiratory disease and the diabetes mellitus. And it has been observed that this risk of invasive pneumococcal disease is somewhat found to be more in the adult patients with diabetes mellitus as compared to children. That's why probably we need to protect the adult patients, diabetic patients more probably. And we see that the guidelines also are in favor of protecting more the adult diabetes as compared to the young diabetic populations. And there are studies in India by Mohan et al. Which can say that probably if we immunize those patients of diabetic mellitus, probably can against the streptococcus pneumonia, it can offer significant protection to the tune of almost in this study they have shown 80% protection can be there if we give pneumococcal vaccines containing 23 serotypes, that is PPD23. So why we need this vaccination? If we have got a sufficient antibiotic therapy to treat this pneumococcal disease, but it has been seen there are certain challenges to diagnose pneumococcal disease early, because if we cannot diagnose it early, then it can spread out. And what are those challenges? It has been seen that there is the sensitivity and specificity of getting this organism in the sputum is very less, and because many times it remains contaminated, then if we go for the blood culture, which is considered to be one of the most specific tests, but doing blood culture is also very difficult because it has been observed that the pneumococci is intermittent in the blood, so they do not come continuously. So intermittent shedding is very difficult to pick out these organisms from the blood culture. Then also there are certain technical issues because these pneumococci get destroyed in the culture tube wall, so that is also very difficult to pick them up, and sometimes they do not grow properly because they are prestigious. Besides this, the chest X-ray are not specific, and also it's very difficult to pick them from the urine and the CSF. So there are a lot of difficulties to diagnose the pneumococcal disease. That's why you need to rather prevent rather than you need to go for the treatment. And also there are problems are there in the form of treatment because the drugs available are many cases found to be resistant. So multi-drug resistant pneumococci are very common, like multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. So it's very difficult to restrain them. And it has been observed that the factors associated with pneumococcal antibiotic resistance are young age, then HIV infections, and certain what is important is the certain infective serotype like 6, 9, 14, 19, and 23. They are very notorious to have resistance against all types of antibiotics, or most of the types of antibiotics. And definitely, if you compare the two vis-a-vis pneumonia, pneumonia, but is more risk of hospitalization and the mortality from the influenza. That's why. So, if we summarize the above discussion, then we can see definitely the pneumococcal vaccine is needed because to prevent the occurrence of the pneumococcal pneumonia as well as to decrease the severity of the pneumococcal pneumonia. Now, if you look at the type of pneumococcal vaccines, so one is the pneumococcal polysaccharide vaccine that contains serotype specific capsular polysaccharide, and another is a pneumococcal conjugate vaccines that contain serotype-specific capsular polysaccharide linked to conjugated protein. So initially, when PPVs, that means pneumococcal polysaccharide vaccine was when came into the market, it contains 14 valent polysaccharide vaccine. Now finally, in the recent times, I mean, what the PPSV vaccine is available that contains 23 serotypes. On the other hand, PCV vaccine contain now 13 valent polysaccharide conjugated vaccine, and it is both the vaccines are approved for use in the adults. So why these two vaccines are different? Because their actions is somewhat different. In pneumococcal polysaccharide vaccine, it's mostly B cell dependent. They produce antibody and they don't have memory. Whereas in the PCV vaccine, it's mostly T cell dependent and they contain memory, which in the long term probably the PCV is more effective. And if you look at the different serotypes it contains, PPV23 contains 23 serotypes, of which 11 are unique. On the other hand, PCV30 contains 13 serotypes, of which one is unique, that is the 6A. Otherwise, the 13, I mean, almost 11 serotypes are common to both of them, but 11 extra serotypes are included in the PPV23. That's why the spectrum is wide and also it covers those invasive serotypes as well. So now go to that. Now the serotype distribution data from IPIS study, that is surveillance study, it has been seen that the PPV23 covers almost 80.3% serotype of Streptococcus pneumonia, which are isolated from adult patients with invasive pneumococcal disease during the study. That means it should be effective against the Streptococcus pneumonia prevention. And PCV used in children has increased relevance of 11 unique PPV23 serotypes in adult, because in PCV30 mostly it is used in children, and in adult there could be more. But another extra type of serotype that could be involved in the pathogens. That's why PPV23 serotypes is more useful in adults. And coverage is also more. And the efficacy data of PCV23 and PCV30 will be analyzed. It has been seen that the PPVs would be more effective, and it has been found that almost in every aspect, it's almost 80% effective against these organisms in protective. I mean, it's to be protective in almost every aspect. And if you look at the long-term protection, whether it can offer or not, the results from an epidemiological studies suggest that the vaccination with this PPV23 can provide protection for at least 5 to 9 years after the first dose of vaccination. Probably that's why we will see in the guideline that this PPV23 vaccination is given below 65 years, then after 5 years probably you need to give another dose of vaccinations. And different meta-analysis and Cochrane reviews suggest also the similar efficacy of almost 80% protection against pneumococcal disease, and they can also show they can have a protection against non-bacterial pneumococcal pneumonia also. Not only they are protective against pneumococcal disease, they are also protective against non-invasive pneumonia as well.
Dr. Maity,
Yeah.
just to wrap it up.
So just I have got the slides I will. So all the studies show that it will be protective, so it is not required. So if we go to the guidelines, so the guideline says that the American Diabetes Association says all active patients more than 2 years of age should get this vaccination, and one-time revaccination is recommended for individuals more than 64 years of age if the vaccination administered more than 5 years ago. So this is the recommendations, and it's a similar it has been published in 2018 also. Then if influenza and diabetes, it has been seen that influenza vaccination protective. Also, it can reduce 50% of reduction hospitalization, and as well as this, that's why the vaccine is also needed. And it has been recommended that every adult with the different systemic disease, which includes also diabetes, they should get also influenza vaccines yearly to have reduced rate of hospitalization as well as death. And finally, so that's under some recommends influenza vaccine recommended annually for all diabetic patients more than 6 months of age. And finally, if you look at the diabetes and hepatitis B infections, we know that the hepatitis B infects more with the diabetes. That's why we need to keep also hepatitis B vaccinations in diabetic patients also. It's better to give. So to summarize, Immovax 23 offers broader range of coverage, and that includes many serotypes of Staphylococcus pneumoniae, and almost that can give protection in more than 80% cases. And chronic disease like diabetes, along with other chronic diseases, are at risk of pneumococcal disease. So we should protect the patients of diabetes with pneumococcal vaccines, which is highly efficacious. And for all adults ages 19 years or between 19 to 64 years, one should receive pneumococcal vaccines, and after 64 years, one should get another shot if the interval is more than 5 years, and everybody should get influenza vaccines annually. But the most important point I want to focus is that at least all elderly diabetic patients, those who are around 60 or more, they should get pneumococcal vaccines, because the pneumonia is one of the leading cause of death in diabetic patients as well as non-diabetic patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maity, for your excellent presentations. Now, I will take one or two questions from the audience. Any question?
Now, keeping in mind, on আছে
Only.
Keeping in mind that nowadays there are health-related multiple auxiliary services. The average age group, average living age persons has been increased worldwide, and so the recommendation that's 2 to 64 years, and can it be challenged, or can it be newly it will be reconsidered that whether the age should be increased a little more for vaccination? I think you got my question. Yes, sir. Dr. Maity?
Actually, in the list,
Dr. Maity, you have unmuted. Just please unmute.
you have to unmute yourself.
I mean, can you repeat just in short?
Yes, I am repeating.
Whether to increase the age group or age limit?
Yes. Because the percentage of long-living persons are increasing worldwide.
Yeah. So maybe, as rightly said, that as we can see from the presentation, is the long-term protection maybe 5 to 9 years. So if we gave one sort of vaccinations, say before 65 years, then after 5 years we can give another sort. That is the recommendation goes. But maybe, as you rightly said, as the number of patients, elderly patients living quite and the age group is high, maybe another sort of vaccination after what we can say the third dose can be given those who are say 80 years or like 75, more than 75, 85. So that can be given.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Maity.
Yes, the newer recommendation has already come that it can be given even beyond 64 years. This is one thing, and again, it's a very good talk. One thing I just want to say that influenza and pneumonia has been covered, but there are some other vaccines also. which is required for diabetic patients. Like most important is hepatitis B vaccine. That is one very important, and some other minor vaccines are also required. So according to CDC. Yes, this is the count.
Any comment from Dr. Maity? Other vaccination apart from influenza and pneumonia?
Pardon?
And Dr. Noskar has been talking about the other vaccination beyond the influenza and pneumonia.
I mean, there have to be sort of, you can give the vaccination against measles, mumps, then you can give vaccinations against diphtheria, tetanus and others. But the most important or purpose of giving vaccination is to prevent sort of difficult complications or mortality from the disease of the diabetes. So in that sense, as we have discussed, that pneumonia is one of the important cause of death. That's why the vaccination strategy are there in the case of streptococcus pneumonia. Then the influenza, which is very common in the western part, and influenza is one of the important cause of death in western part. But not our part, we do not see that much of death in influenza. However, so in elderly subject, the idea of giving vaccination against influenza, because after influenza you can have secondary bacterial infection and that can lead to death. So that's why influenza vaccination is also needed. And hepatitis B is very contagious, and in diabetic patients needs many times hospital admission, many invasive procedures. And also that's probably need to have vaccination against hepatitis B. But there are many other indications where it can give vaccinations.
Okay, then if there is no other question, I will end up the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson, sir, and thank you all the managers.
Before ending the session, I must congratulate the Sanofi oral team for sponsoring the session. Though the Sanofi oral team has no product related to vaccine, but I must congratulate them because they are the main sponsor in this topic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. Thank you, Chairperson, sir. Thank you, Sanofi, for sponsoring.